Studios in Tempe, Arizona, the Chips and Salsa Show. Conservative conversation, picoso, not mocoso, with Don Jorge Ortiz and Alicia Lara. George, former California Democrat. Hey, it's time for the Chips and Salsa Show. It's Saturday, 4 p.m. And I just want to let our technical director know there's another voice in my head, and it's really from the microphone or from the headphones and not my head. I'm Alice Lara here with George Ortiz, and we are here every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Chips and Salsa Show. No, there's actually an ad playing in my ears. Is it not in your ears?
No.
Okay.
I don't hear it.
All right, well, I'm going to do it without the thing. So we apologize to our audience if you're hearing that ad, because you're not supposed to be hearing the ad. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, let's try that again. Welcome to the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Lara here. It's Saturday afternoon. I can't believe it's already Saturday, 4 p.m. with my partner, Don Jorge.
Don Jorge Alacran.
He is the Scorpion King. He is George Ortiz. All kinds of things. Deplorable, explorable.
The deplorable, Hillary's deplorable. One of the deplorables hanging out there.
Always here. We have a great guest we're going to get to in just a few minutes. We actually have two guests. We're going to have Moses Sanchez. He is running for the mayor of the city of Phoenix.
The great city of Phoenix.
Great city of Phoenix. And then also later on in the show, we're going to bring on Mary Gratinger, who is with Life Choices Women's Clinic. We went to a wonderful event. Actually, George didn't get to go. George, I'm sorry, because you missed a great event. It was Laugh for Hope. We had 4 comedians that were fantastic, including, I want to tell you, George, we had Carlos Oscar. Do you know him? Did you check him out?
I've checked him out. I like Carlos Oscar. He's a great comedian.
The dude is Puerto Rican. He was saying he's Puerto Rican, and he's married. His wife is Mexican. Americans of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent.
I'll make it next time after I had my teeth pulled. So.
Yeah. So I told him after the show, I said, you know what, we do a little show, I'm going to steal some of your jokes, because it was really good. So we'll tell you all about that later. I want to remind our audience, if you're watching us on Facebook, thank you, Chipsters. We appreciate that very much. We're here in the Molcajete at Center Right Radio. What we'd like you to do is just go to your phone, right? And you're watching us already on the Chips and Salsa Facebook page. That's Chips, letter N, a Salsa Show. And what you can simply do is you click the share button, and you can click Right Post. I've got to happen to have a Droid. And then you can post it on your own Facebook page. Or even if you are on other people's pages, then you can just share it with other pages, because that way you can grow our show and have as many people as possible listen to it. I want to thank our technical director, and that's Sexy Steve is here today. We're missing Brandon, but that's okay. We're surviving. And helping him also here in the studio is Sean, our intern. Thank you, Sean. So it's going to be a really good show. We'd like to give kudos also to our music director, and that's my nephew, David Beasley. David, wherever you are, hang in there. We appreciate it. And our logo creator is Monica Lara, and that's my great niece. We also want to give good kudos to, hey, and guess what? It's her birthday, huh?
Yep.
Secret Sonia.
Secret Sonia. We went to Marley's yesterday. Woo-hoo.
Very nice.
I like that restaurant.
It's nice.
We went to
Marley's
the one in
downtown?
Goodyear.
Oh, good. That's right.
Yeah, because they have one in Chandler too, and they have one in Scottsdale. They have 5 locations, and I love the place. I recommend it to everybody. Marley's. I'm doing a free commercial.
Did you pick him up as a sponsor? Yeah, work on that, okay?
Delicious foods.
But happy birthday to Secret Sonia,
Yep.
who is our producer. She takes care of us, and she is really good at collecting all the cocotazos and the whole enchilada nominations. We really appreciate it. She watches our Facebook page also, so thank you very, very much. Okay, we got lots of headlines and a lot of things to get to. I think maybe, George, we could play the Prather Point, and then we can go right to our guest. What do you say?
I think it's a good idea.
Steve, do you need a second or two to get set up there for the Prather Point? Okay. And for those of you, this is the first time that you've listened to our show. Every week we have a feature called the Prather Point, and that's Jeff Prather. And he is a Fast and Furious whistleblower. He's actually based in Tucson. In fact, June 2nd, he's going to have a Prather and Pizza event. So he's always kind of got a little jump ahead of the game of the deep state. You know, he still has connections there. He kind of knows what's going on. It's kind of, you know, we call him our secret agent man. And but he's always on top of things. And I started listening to him, gosh, a couple of years ago, and I thought, God, this guy's saying some crazy stuff. But you know what would happen? He would report on things, and then like a month or two later, bam, it would happen in the news. So I've listened to really pay attention to what he says. So let's see. Mr. Steve, are we just about ready, buddy?
Yeah, actually, let me
I
do
can-
one change here.
No problem. All right.
Let me do it.
And Steve's going to do
Tools.
something that he did last time for the Facebook audience because there we go. All right. He's probably going to do it old school so we can play it. So now we're ready for the Prather Point with Jeff Prather.
Ex-drug enforcement. Hola, Jeff Prather here. Ex-Drug Enforcement Administration Special Agent, ex-Defense Intelligence Agency Intelligence Collector,
You looked at Facebook
ex-Army
before?
Military Intelligence Officer, Fast and Furious whistleblower, now speaking truth to power, living outside the box on the Chips and Salsa Show with this week's Prather Point on Center Right Live.
Can you hear it?
The
Just the music.
FBI and
His voice, but the music's
and
over.
the DOJ
There you go.
continue its march towards total
I have that
corruption
on.
in destroying.
Okay, stand by.
Now
What's
his
going
voice is
on?
off. Okay, a little
Hola,
technical difficulties
Jeff
here.
Prather here.
Here we go.
Ex-Drug Enforcement Administration Special Agent, ex-Defense Intelligence Agency Intelligence Collector, ex-Army Military
Sorry,
Intelligence
Facebook, hang on.
Officer, Fast and Furious whistleblower, now speaking
Oh,
truth
yeah,
to
you're
power,
not
living
hearing-
outside the
you're not
box
hearing
on
on
the
your
Chips and Salsa Show
I'm
with
hearing
this
it.
week's Prather Point on Center Right Live. The FBI and Comey and the DOJ continues its march towards total corruption in destroying our republic in that a couple things. Comey's book has come out, and it's no big surprise that he is totally unprofessional and impartial and calls
Okay,
President
Facebook,
Trump
hopefully
all
you can
kinds
hear
of
that.
names. We already know that he is a total sycophant to the Obama-Clinton left and a total hater of Trump and the right. What's more important this week is
No, it's not
that the
working for some
FBI
reason.
continues its march towards total corruption and destroying our republic, which I
Work
believe
earlier when I tested it.
Trump is trying to save by raiding Trump's offices for the huge suspected crime of destroying evidence about a porn star's allegation of an affair with President Trump. So that violates attorney-client privilege, but who's paying much attention anymore? The FBI has a long history of being corrupt. We can go back to Waco when they end up hitting the compound, killing and burning alive women and children, then bulldozing the evidence. We can go to Ruby Ridge where they changed the rules of engagement to shoot a mom holding a baby. We are not even talking about all the African American and Native American indigenous peoples' abuses that the FBI has condoned. But let's just move forward. There was no problem with Obama running
Alright, sorry
guns
about that, Facebook. I
through
worked
the
earlier, but
ATF,
not
running
working now.
drugs through the DEA. That was my piece of the scandal. Running guns to the Libyans, running guns to the Syrian, running cash to the Iranians, letting the IRS be used as a political hammer, letting the NSA being used as a political hammer, perjury on the part of Obama, Clinton, Holder, Lynch. I could go on. But most recently, the FBI granted immunity to Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton's aides, Brian Pagliano, another former Clinton staffer, a couple of her lawyers, all kinds of immunity deals. But with Trump, they're going to seize his lawyers' documents because there is a great danger of the lawyer destroying evidence. The hypocrisy is staggering, and unfortunately, our republic continues to fall. For more Prather, I have a Prather and Pizza coming up. If you're interested in that, give me a call at 520-241-7690. That's on June 2nd, where we'll have time to go into this stuff more. This is Jeff Prather on the Chips and Salsa Show with this week's Prather Point.
And that was the Prather Point. That's Jeff Prather. The hypocrisy is staggering. You know, it'd be interesting, George, if we had Jeff in the studio with us because he was talking about running guns to Syria. I'd love to know his opinion about what's going on now. We have so much to talk about, politics and otherwise. What we're going to do is, I think we'll go ahead and bring in Moses Sanchez here for the first part of this segment because he's going to be able to stay with us the whole hour. So welcome, Moses Sanchez, to the Chips and Salsa Show.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Don Jorge, for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
Hey, we need change in Phoenix.
Yes, we
And I'm telling you, people, we have change coming. We have a great candidate, is a Navy veteran. He's going to tell you about his naval background, and he's going to tell you why he should be the mayor of Phoenix. As soon as we get Stratton to step down like he's supposed to, he said he's going to step down. We just don't know when.
How
That's
about we start because we normally have a military moment, so we're so happy because we have a double whammy here with Moses. So let's ask you about your military career, which you actually aren't you still in the reserves or something?
I still am. I'm
Thank you.
22 years so far. Service. 4 of those years were active duty years, with 1 year deployed overseas in Afghanistan in 2011. So I still have about 3 more years left before I call it a career.
Muchas gracias. So naval career, correct?
Correct. The whole
And
time in the Navy.
Why did you decide to go into the Navy? And first of all, you were born in Panama, right?
I was. I am. I'm an immigrant. I came to the United States when I was 5 years old with my parents and my younger sister, and really in search of that American dream, right? That so many immigrants search for, and it was my family values, and really it was Ronald Reagan who inspired my father to bring his family from Panama. And at the time, Panama was going through a lot of problems and an overreaching government, what we would call a dictator, through Manuel Noriega. And so coming to America was a blessing, and we've made it our home. And there are certain values that my parents instilled in us: hard work, strive for education, always seeking education, and commitment to service. And that commitment to service led me to joining the Navy right out of high school. And so I've instilled those same values in my kids and my family and my grandkids. And today, I'm proud to say that my son is also in the Navy. So he's in the
Wait
Navy
a minute, you have
Reserves.
grandkids?
I do. I have
God,
3
he looks so
amazing
young.
grandchildren.
Oh, he does look young.
Wow.
3 grandchildren, 5 godchildren.
Wow, that's terrific. But you chose the Navy because?
I was in a junior Navy program when I was in high school. And so that's really what kind of set my path to joining the Navy. So I've actually been wearing the Navy uniform since I was 13. So it's been probably closer to 30 years that I've been wearing a Navy uniform. It was a JROTC program.
Very natural to you. And so what did you do in the Navy?
When I went active duty, I was a deck seaman. So I was a deck ape. That's a bosun mate. It's just somebody who, we drive the ship, and we make sure that the ship is maintained. A lot of painting, a lot of chipping, a lot of laboring hours. And then out of deck, I got accepted I took a test, and it turned out that I have a language ability. And so the Navy sent me to a special school, the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, to learn to read, write, and speak Chinese.
Is that right?
That's right.
But
So
you already spoke Spanish and English at that
I did.
point.
Spanish was my first language, and I still tell the story to this day that, as parents, we like to save documents that our kids bring home from school, right? My mother still has, to this day, the first note sent home from my teacher when I first came to America, and it said, "Please teach your son how to say bathroom in English."
That's cute. And you learned.
And I learned, yes,
Very good.
I learned. So,
Oh, that's
so yes,
adorable.
I did a year. I spent over a year in Monterey, and in between that year, I worked on 2 different ships. I worked on a Aegis class cruiser, the USS Chancellorsville CG-62, and we handled counter-narcotics operations back in 1996, and then I was on board an older ship, the USS Cleveland. It's an LPD. It's an older, we call it a gator freighter because we drive Marines around and we take them places.
Gator freighter.
A gator freighter, right? And then I got out. So I did my service, got out, went to college, and it wasn't until after I was done with college and really uniting with my wife and our family that I decided to join the reserves back in 2004. So in 2004, I had moved to Arizona. My wife is a native from Arizona. And when I got here, I didn't have anything familiar because I hadn't been to Arizona. And so the two things that I was familiar with was the military and the Kiwanis Club, service organizations that I participated in California where I grew up with. So I joined the reserves and joined the Kiwanis Club of Ahwatukee back in 2004 and have been a reservist ever since.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your service. And I always like to ask our military guys, so today, anybody that might be interested in joining the military, what would you tell them? What advice or would you tell them? Yay, nay, boo, yay?
It's an amazing group of individuals that I've shared a big portion of my life with. It's funny that you asked this because I just got called on yesterday. I got a phone call yesterday from a young man who, out of nowhere, he knew I was in the military, and he says, hey, these are my options, and I'm trying to figure out which way to go. Should I go active duty? Should I go active officer? Should I go reserve? And so I get a lot of phone calls from young men and women who are considering, and a lot of my friends have adult children who are also looking for what they're going to do in life, and they're not sure. So I would absolutely encourage a young man or a woman to join the military, and whether it's active duty, whether it's joining the reserves or an ROTC or an ROTC program at the college, I'd highly encourage it. I mean, it's a fraternity, it's a sorority, it's a brotherhood, sisterhood of just battle buddies that you'll have for life. I mean, I know at least I have a handful of people that I can call right now and say, hey, I need you here tomorrow, and they'll jump on a plane and be
That's
here.
terrific. I love battle buddies. We've got to remember that. We
My
could use
battle
that for
buddies,
radio.
yeah.
My
Hey,
granddaughter.
we've got to wrap up the show. George,
we gotta
10
wrap up?
seconds.
Oh, yeah, my granddaughter is in the Coast Guard. She's a chef on the USS Joshua. It's one of the newer ships that was just commissioned.
Terrific. Hey, we're going to be right back with more of our candidate, Moses Sanchez, here on the Chips and Salsa Show. Do not go away. I'm Alice Lara with Don Jorge.
Jorge.
And we'll be back, so don't go away. Walk on with us. Live from the Center Right Radio Studios in Tempe, Arizona, the Chips and
from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about taking money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures from UNCF. Your investment can help students go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A message from UNCF and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13.
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
Realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the Search Engine and Digital Marketing Race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
George, former California Democrat union man turned legislative GOP chairman.
And Ellis, former New Mexico Democrat turned legislative GOP district state.
All right, we are back. You are listening to the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio, and you might be listening at centerright.live. I'm Alice Lara with
Don Jorge El Alacran.
We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and Chipsters really appreciate you being in the Molcajete with us. And in the Molcajete today, we have a very special guest, and that's Moses Sanchez, who is candidate for Phoenix mayor. Welcome again, Moses.
Thank you for having me.
And we saluted him the last segment because he is a Navy veteran. He's still active in the reserves, and thank you very much for doing that. You know, can I ask you just a quick question because before we get into all the political stuff, as everybody knows out there, there were some Syrian strikes that happened. And do you have your take on that? Would you like to say anything about that?
When it comes to my campaign, I'm really focused on the local issues. It's the most important thing. It's one of my frustrations that I have with local candidates, really talking about the national issues. But personally, as a service member, I'm proud of the work that our armed services has done. The strikes that I can't talk to all the details regarding the strikes, but I can say this, that I have a lot of faith and trust in Defense Secretary and in the work that our service members do overseas.
Great. All right, so let's get into the campaign. Okay, so just to explain, if you aren't living in the Phoenix area, we have a very unique situation because right now our present mayor is going to run for Congress, but he hasn't officially stepped down from the office, so Moses, there really isn't an actual mayoral race, but there really is. You want to explain that to our audience?
Yes. So about back in October, the current mayor had announced that he was going to resign. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And he said he was resigning so he could run for Congress, CD9, in our community. And so since then, a couple of other candidates jumped into the race. And I started getting phone calls from people. Now, my background here in our community is very active. I'm a business owner. I'm also an educator, so I teach over at South Mountain Community College. I've been teaching there for about a decade now, where I teach macro and microeconomics. And I was elected to the local school board here, the Tempe Union High School District Governing Board. Now, the Tempe Union High School District has 7 high schools. And 2 of those high schools, the largest schools really, are in Phoenix. They're in the Ahwatukee neighborhood. And so I live in that neighborhood. My kids went to those schools. And so I really have an extensive background in education and activity within our community. So I started getting phone calls from business leaders, politicians, local politicians, and educators saying, hey, you know, the current candidates that are running, it's the status quo. It's City Hall. And we need somebody with some fresh ideas. We need somebody with who will actually address the local issues that matter, not the federal issues, not the state issues, and someone who's not running for the next election cycle. So after a lot of thinking and praying and talking about it with people I trust and my family, we came to the conclusion in December that there's a path to victory. And so we're committed to that. I made my official announcement in January, and I've been working really, really hard since mid-January to get my message out there. And so it is a unique election in that normally the mayor's election and a lot of municipal races fall on odd number years. So it would be 2019 would be the next mayor's race. And when you have a municipal election in odd number years, you really have a small group of people who are selecting our city hall. When it falls because of a special election on a gubernatorial year like it is this year, you're going to have at least twice as many voters. It's going to be a much larger segment of the population. And so that has created this unique opportunity for my campaign, in that we really have to get our message out to a much broader audience, and I have the ability to do that. So we do have a path to victory. We're going to have an election this year. We're not sure when, because he still hasn't resigned, and so he has until the end of May to resign. If he resigns in the next 5 days,
okay,
we'll have an August election. If he resigns between April 20th and the end of May, we'll have a November election. Either one of those elections seems very favorable for our campaign.
Would you still have to run in 2019?
It's possible. So what happens in a municipal election, it's a nonpartisan race. So there's going to be a lot of candidates. There's probably going to be, there's at least 3 legit candidates. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 candidates on the ballot. If nobody gets 50% plus 1 of the votes, either in August, if it's an August election, then we have a runoff between the top 2 candidates in November. Now, I don't think he's going to resign. I think he's going to wait as long as he can, which is part of the frustration. This is the status quo. This is what City Hall does, right? And by waiting till the last minute, he's going to force a November election. If nobody gets 50% plus 1 in November, the top 2 candidates will run in a runoff March 2019.
Wow.
So this is a really long election.
And so if that happens, who becomes mayor? Like the vice mayor just takes over?
We have a process. We have an interim. The city council will vote for an interim mayor. We do have a vice mayor right now, but I think it's important for your listeners to know that we haven't had a mayor come from outside of City Hall in over 30 years. Yeah. It's always been city council member to mayor, city council member to mayor. It's been 3 decades, more than 3 decades since we had somebody from outside of City Hall. And that's a challenge. But I think it's time. I think it's time we have somebody. City Hall has had a good run.
Well, I can attest, Moses, that just I see you everywhere, so you are making the rounds, and to me that's always a mark of a good candidate. You know, George he's more political than even I am. He's everywhere around the city. But when I see someone working as hard as you do, I think you've got a really good chance, like you said, because you have to go out there and meet the people. But it's a very interesting dynamic, and you have a lot of patience to be able to be out there.
Well, I did hand over a lot of my duties as a chief operations officer for my company to my partner, my business partner, who happens to be my daughter. And she hired more people, and she's doing an incredible job back in December and January, so I could do this full time. I'm dedicated to doing this full time. I'm spending 18 to 20 meetings a week with individuals and influencers within the community. I'm going to meet and greets. I'm spending a lot of time at nighttime with legislative districts, meeting the folks and talking about issues that are important to them. I'm going to churches, going to different nonprofit organizations, checking out their facilities. And so I am spending a lot of time doing this. I'm dedicated and I'm committed to doing this full time. And then I'm even more committed to doing that after I get elected mayor.
That's terrific. But you are right, because I've been living here about 30 years, and you're right. It's always been from within. And some fresh blood would be nice. It would be terrific. And, it is a nonpartisan for those of you, so it's really not, you happen to be a conservative Republican, and of course that would make us happy. But it is a nonpartisan race because it is the Phoenix.
I know Moses, and I think regardless of what party he belongs to, he would be a great mayor of this great city of Phoenix. You have to get to know him, get to know his passion of what he would do as mayor, and he's way better than the candidates that are running at this time against him. And I say that from experience because I know Moses.
And give information how people can contact you and your website. We're going to talk more about the race, but just so we don't forget to do that.
Yes, I mean, they can go to my website, mosessanchez.com. I have a good digital footprint out there. I'm on Twitter, very active on Twitter, Sanchez Moses, and Instagram, Sanchez Moses. Obviously on Facebook, Moses Sanchez for Phoenix Mayor. But they can also just Google my name, Moses Sanchez, and everything pops up. My company, the business that I own, is a digital marketing company, and it was really founded on my election to school board, and we used a lot of the tools back then to help me get elected, and then we're going to be using those tools and leveraging those skills during this election cycle.
That's terrific because you need that anymore. You know, one thing, tell me if this is true. I've been kind of watching candidates, and especially now since we have more social media in the last few years, it seems to me those candidates that have more followers on their Facebook pages than others, they seem to be the winners, and because I think that just because they're more active and more known. Is that just a theory?
When it comes to digital marketing, I would say that the most important thing for any company or candidate is really engagement. It's not necessary because you can buy followers, but if they're not engaged, you're not going to have that audience go out and fight for you, champion you, vote for you, or donate to your campaign, which is really what helps campaigns.
Now, can people not donate yet?
Oh no, we have a. You can go to my website, mosessanchez.com, and donate right there. Every donation matters. I really appreciate even the small donations to the large donations. I spend a lot of time every week during call time calling donors and thanking them for their trust. Even the $25 donations, the $10 donations, I spend them calling.
It's a really important thing to do. And another important thing to do is to stay tuned because we'll be back with the next segment of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio at centerright.live. Alice Lara, George Ortiz, and our special guest, mayoral candidate for Phoenix, Moses Sanchez. Don't go away. George, former California Democrat union man turned legislative GOP chairman.
And Alice, former New Mexico Democrat.
From Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about taking money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures from UNCF. Your investment can help students go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A message from UNCF and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14,
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the search engine and digital marketing race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you though, they have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet, your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com today.
We are back. It's already the third segment of the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Sada here with...
Jorge, Don Jorge, the deplorable one.
He is a deplorable one. And I just want to say something. If you happen to go back and you're trying to listen on centerright.live, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Bear with us. We're sorry about that. Facebook did something, so poor Steve would have to reboot it. So,
no, Facebook's hard to find.
Facebook's hard to find now? It's a YouTube mixer. Pardon me, I got that wrong.
Yeah,
but anyway, we apologize, and we're working to get that fixed and taken care of. Okay, we are back with our special guest, Moses Sanchez. He's wanting to be mayor of the great city of Phoenix, the 5th largest city now, I understand, in the entire United States. Wow, that's a big responsibility.
And he's Latino. He's a Hispanic, and he's a great Hispanic.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about one of my things right now, okay, is light rail. I live in the South Mountain community, and there's some different opinions about light rail. I'll just tell you real quick. One of the things is we need a lot more officers for the city of Phoenix. We need pensions are a problem. The budget needs that we have. We are getting ready to spend a bunch of money on light rail in the South Mountain area. I know this is just one part of our community, and they're going to have one lane each way during this whole time. So while I understand the future of a big city, and I can understand the need, I'm not real clear on priorities. Do you have some thoughts on that, Moses?
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the 4 lanes or no train movement that's happening right now in the South Phoenix area. And my frustration with the light rail situation, not just in the South Phoenix area, but just throughout the city itself, is what I would consider the lack of communication from the city with its constituents. I mean, a lot of those business owners expected there to be 4 lanes, and then for it to turn out to be 2 lanes, it's pretty frustrating, and I can only imagine being in their shoes. And I understand that there are meetings that the city promotes for folks to attend, but sometimes I believe these meetings aren't always either effective or effectively communicated. I'll give you a perfect example. The city is going through its budget show right now, where they're having meetings to have people come and give input on what they want to see. They're also going through this elections process where they're considering changing our elections for cost purposes. I'm going to some of these meetings. The last meeting I went to was earlier this week on Monday. I was the only non-city staff person at the elections meeting. There was 100 chairs there. There was 100 chairs set up, but at the so I attended 2 meetings that day. The budget meeting was well attended. There were probably about 80 or 90 people there for the budget meeting, but in the same room, the elections meeting, there was 1 person there, and that was me. I was the only non-city staff person. So, when the city says, well, we've had a lot of meetings, we've had 20 meetings, let's say, if none of the business owners 5 minutes late, I have to speed through a school zone. You know, these frustrations because of the lack of communication by the city are real. And these are the concerns that Phoenix families have. You talk about public safety. Public safety is a serious issue. And it's at the top of my platform issues. When I talk about public safety, I talk about the lack of police support. And we don't, not only do we have understaffed police support, police staff here in the city of Phoenix, but they're also undersupported. And I always give the example in my community of Ahwatukee, which is Phoenix. There's about 100,000 people in Ahwatukee. We have 5 police patrols in the community of Ahwatukee. Of those 5 police patrols, 2 of those are stationed on the South Mountain side, on the north side of South Mountain, which is the Levine area. Anybody who knows anything about South Phoenix knows that that's not Ahwatukee. So really, the Ahwatukee precinct really only has 3 patrols.
It's a whole separate community.
It's a completely
it's a big,
separate.
giant mountain that blocks it.
Who drew this, and how do you only have 5 patrols? Now, meanwhile, the city of Prescott has 1/3 of the population that Ahwatukee has, but they have over 60 patrols.
Wow.
60 patrols versus 3. And I mean, it's one of those things where for me, it's about priorities. And I don't believe that City Hall has prioritized public safety. It hasn't said public safety is the most important thing. Instead, it's been these other projects, these other pet projects, and unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why I'm running for mayor.
I think you summed
it up really good.
I see a lot of them standing guard on some of the construction.
Well, they bring in police reserve force, and I understand that, and you know, those are folks that they do a good job, and they do, I don't know, public officers are doing the best they can with what they have, but this public safety crisis is something that's compounded and can get really serious.
Well, nice way to wrap it up. And we got to wrap it up and get ready for our last segment, but don't go away. We'll be right back with the last segment of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio with Alice, George, and our special guest, Moses Sanchez. Don't go away.
That was
from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that Mommy and Daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about taking money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures from UNCF. Your investment can help students go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A message from UNCF and the Ad Council.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14...
41, 31, 13. We
took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted.
I
realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
And it's a beautiful day here at the Search Engine and Digital Marketing Race in beautiful Tempe, Arizona. The horses lining up at the gate now, waiting for the bell. And they're off. It's just a two-way race today between your business brand and your relentless competition. Oh, but wait a minute. You've just hired Warhorse Agency for your digital marketing and are quickly taking the lead in your market. Well, hang on to your seat, though. Your competition started their own Google AdWords pay-per-click campaign and are trying to catch up to you now. Good for you, though. They have no idea what they're doing. But don't worry yet. Your digital marketing jockey at Warhorse Agency tirelessly regains the lead with a great viral Facebook ad as well as your own Google SEO and pay-per-click campaign ran by a Warhorse, true leading generating professional. Holy smokes, your business just got a major lead. You're on the first page of Google now, and as they approach the finish line, your business wins. Thanks, Warhorse Agency, for another smashing victory. Contact us today for your free digital marketing evaluation. Visit us at www.gowarhorse.com.
And welcome back to the Chips and Salsa Show. And way to go, Steve, behind the scenes there. You got that music down. Da, 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 da. Very nice.
And the audio's working.
Thank you. Okay, great. We have, I can't believe the show's going fast, which means it's a good show, right? And we welcome to the studios our good friend Mary Gratinger. Welcome, Mary. Mary is the executive assistant for Life Choices Women's Clinic. And we went to, we're a great part of the event last night. It's their big annual fundraiser, Laugh for Hope.
Right. It was our 5th annual event.
It was?
Our annual fundraiser, yes. So
wow. And what they do is they invite comedians. There were 3 comedians there last night. Fantastic. Very funny. Carlos Oscar was my favorite one. They were all good. They were all good. But he happened to be, he's Puerto Rican, George, you'll appreciate that. And he's married to a Mexican, a woman of
We
Mexican
make good
descent.
comedians.
Yeah, we're pretty funny. Yeah, that's true. We're pretty funny. And it was just a really good show, so kudos to you guys. So how many tickets did you guys sell?
Well, actually, we were in a new venue this year, and so it was a little bit smaller. We had a sellout, so that was great. We really had a lot of people show up, enjoy the show. Like you said, we had 3 comedians, so Kristen Weber, Carlos Oscar, and Claiborne Cox, and they were the 2 of them were new this year, but Carlos we had brought back from our first year because the fans just loved him so much, and he put on yet another great show, so we'll definitely have him back in the
He did a terrific job. Bishop Olmsted was there, so the comedians were having a lot of fun with him. They
Yes,
really
they
were.
were.
Life Choices Women's Clinic is a really, really important organization.
Yes, it is.
And you had on there your mobile clinic.
Yes, we had the mobile clinic outside for people to be able to do some tours. So we do have 2 fixed wall offices and then the mobile clinic. And we do provide the medical services on the clinic as it goes out to the different locations.
It's terrific. It took a little tour. It's very small. I think, wow, how do you get all that done in there? But they do scans and they can do examinations in there. And I'm just always very impressed with that organization. And every year you get better and stronger. And the Chips and Salsa Show is so excited to be a part of that. And we hope we continue the partnership.
Yes.
You have any news for us or any update to tell us that you'd like to going forward into this new year?
Well, the fact that the show was a sellout was wonderful for us. We're looking forward to next year's event. We're going to have 3 brand new comedians, and all of them will be very funny, I'm sure. It is clean comedy, so it's a family-friendly event. And for this year's event, we had our Rose sponsors that bought the tickets and passed them out to friends and family. We were able to sell out 40% of the event before the tickets even went on sale to the general public.
Oh, that's terrific.
So we want to make sure if you're planning on going next year that you keep that in mind and you get your tickets early because the best seats will go fast.
That's great. And we want to let our audience know you don't have to wait till next year if you'd like to donate to this organization. Mary, tell them your website and how they can contact you.
Okay. Well, we have the website to get more information about the event itself, Laugh for Hope, is laugh and the number 4 hopephx.com, and then our website for Life Choices Women's Clinic and the Hope Mobile Unit is pro-lifearizona.com, and both of those sites have lots of information about what we do and who we serve and the community that we're in, which is the Phoenix area.
And you really do provide a lot of education. You know, there could be a young woman who might be contemplating an abortion, but they can go in there and have information. You have the little models of the babies at different stages. You give them a scan, and very helpful. Plus, also, it doesn't just end there after the baby. You had a special guest on stage also last night.
Right, we did. Rhodesia was on stage with us last night. It was wonderful telling her story. She came to Life Choices with an unexpected pregnancy and all of the issues that were related to that. She needed some help with housing. She needed some support, some information. And so we were able to provide that for her. And then with her faith, she kind of decided on how she wanted her life to go. And so her daughter Kennedy was born on St. Patrick's Day, and she was able to be with us at the event and to be shown off. She was
What a
real
cutie. She was the cutest little baby up there.
Yes.
Great. Well, we thank you again. And Mary, if you can stay with us, we'd love for you to help us with the cocotazos, the whole enchilada. Join us.
Okay.
And Moses. Great. Great. Okay, so what was that website again? Let's give it out one more time.
The pro-life-arizona.com.
Is Arizona spelled out?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So check that out. They're a great organization. You know, if you have a few bucks that you can spare, I would highly encourage you to write them a check. I wrote a little check. Wish I could write you more. Do it. Okay, George, it's time for the cocotazos and the enchiladas. Tell the audience, what is a cocotazo, George?
Cocotazo is when you were little and you got out of line and you said something kind of dumb. Your parent just kind of got
Can
your
I
attention.
do that? Can I knock you on the head like
You did
that?
a cocotazo and above your head and just kind of just reminded you that you were doing something stupid. In the other Hispanic cultures, it's chanclazo, where they just toss a slipper at you. And if you've watched the new Disney movie Coco, it's about a Mexican family and Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, and the grandmother throws their slipper across a couple of times at a couple of people, and that's a chanclazo. In I'm Puerto Rican, we had the cocotazo. So you have the chanclazo, the cocotazo, but it's all the same thing. It's the dumb nominations, and we have 4 of them.
We only have 4. You know, I've been kind of busy, so I'm sure there's more than these, but I haven't been able to put more. And thank you to Secret Sonia who puts them up on there. But let's go ahead and read them. Want me to read them, or you want to read them?
The first one is Judge slaps a 65-year sentence on a laughing teen who rejected a 25-year deal.
I saw that. Okay, and we should explain. We're gonna read all these, and then what we're gonna do is go around the room, and you get to vote on which one you think's the best. That's how we choose them.
The second one is a Democratic congressman to voters upset about violent crime by illegal immigrants move to the Cayman Islands. I guess he's telling people to move to the Cayman Islands.
He's saying, so if you're upset by that, move to the Cayman Islands.
And the third one, Joy Behar.
It's actually Joy Behar, yeah.
Joy Behar goes nuclear. Joy says there's no difference between Trump, Assad, and Kim Jong-un.
That's the lady from The View. And I wanted to add one more. Number 4, Comey, former director of the FBI that was fired by President Trump. He has a new book out, and I just want to give him a cocotazo for that book. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so that's 4 of them. Let's go around the room. George, you want to start off? Which one do you want to vote for?
I go for number 1. The judge just slapped 65-year sentence on a laughing teen who rejected a 25-year deal. Now, that's pretty dumb. If he would have just kept his mouth shut, he would have got 25 years, and he usually served half of that. Now he has to... The judge said he showed no remorse, and he gave him 65-year sentence.
He got what he deserved. Okay, so Sexy Steve there behind the screen, what do you say? You want to vote on one? You vote for number 1? Okay, that's the same as George. Judge slapped 65-year sentence on laughing teen who rejected the 25-year deal. Let's go to Sean, our intern. Hey, Sean, you don't want to do it? Okay, Sean's like, she's shy. Okay, chicken. All right, that's okay. We'll hit her up next time. Okay, Mary, would you like to pick one?
Sure, I'll pick number 2, the congressman saying that people should leave the country if they don't feel that things are happening here in our country the way that they should be legally.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so that's 1 for number 2 and 2 for number 1. And we go to candidate Sanchez. Ms. Moises Sanchez, what do you think?
I'm going to go with number 3. I mean, comparing our president, when people disagree with our president, especially fans of Joy Behar, they're allowed to march and protest and have these large protests against the president. You can't do that And these are the countries that she's comparing our president to.
Yeah, it was really is dumb. And you know what? I have to vote with you on that one too, because I saw her say that, and it just every day something dumb comes out of it. I mean, it's that between that and Comey, but you know what? I go with you. Okay, so you know what? We have a tie. We have a tie with number 1 and number 3, so that's okay. We'll do that. So that's Kokota Silva nominations. Okay, let's go to the whole enchilada now. So the whole enchilada, instead of just being negative all the time, we decided to come up with something positive. Last week, our winner was the young man that a lot of people haven't heard about. His name is Anthony, and he was a survivor of the Parkland shooting, and he actually got in front. He took like 4 bullets. This kid was amazing. So we gave him the whole enchilada. So here we actually have 6 of these. So number 1 is fat cells converted into stem cells can repair any damaged tissue. That's cool. All right. Number 2, woman bashes Mike Rowe's work ethic scholarship. Rowe's response couldn't be more perfect. I don't know if you saw that one. I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe, but that was number 2. So that is for Mike Rowe is the one who we're nominating. Number 3, students at over 200 schools organize a pro-life walkout. So at least we get to hear from the pro-life side. All right. Number 4, Republican women celebrate anti-sex trafficking legislation becoming law. And they did, and I'm proud to say I'm part of the NFRW. AZFRW, which is Arizona, and then the national one is the Federation of Republican Women, and we did. It's that's a big deal. Number 5 is Meghan McCain on the Joy Behar comment.
I got a number 6.
Okay.
There's this when what's his name?
I'm gonna play senior charades with you. Young man, old man. How about you think about that? Because I have one. The one that I wanted to add was Trump says he put a tweet out, okay, and it was a long tweet about Comey. It wasn't very flattering. He called him, I think, a slimeball. But he said, it was my honor to fire Comey. I'm sorry, I have to give it to Trump. I want to do that. And I'm going to vote for that. That's mine. I'm going to vote for that. Did you think of yours yet, George?
The one that's up on trial for, Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby?
He was, he went to court, and when he went to court, there was a girl that ran across him naked, or topless.
You want to give her the whole enchilada?
Well, she had the nerve to run across him. She used to watch his program, and then she really got.
She was
discouraged.
actually on his program.
Yeah.
I think she was an actress.
Yeah, she got discouraged by by what he's done.
So you want to give her a whole enchilada? Do you want? Okay. So do you want to vote for that one? Is that
Yeah.
your? Okay. So one for that. Okay. Let's go to Sexy Steve. You want to vote? Who do you vote
what
for?
are we doing for
The whole enchilada, yeah.
I'm sorry.
The one
I
that
like Mike Rowe. I actually applied for my niece for Mike Rowe's, but it was the wrong type of scholarship. So.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, they're great. I definitely vote for Mike Rowe.
Okay, he's a great one, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
awesome.
And let's go to Mary.
Number 3, the pro-life organizers of the students. I think that's really important.
That was a good one, yes. And we don't get to hear about it, and there are probably many more, and we don't hear about it. Kate Moses.
I'm gonna go with number 4. I'm surrounded by women. I grew up with a lot of women in my life. My sisters. I'm the only boy in the house, and my son is the only boy in the house. And so, women celebrating the anti-sex trafficking legislation. It's a big deal for my wife, who's an obstetrician gynecologist. It's a big deal for me.
Great. Well, you know what? Everybody got a vote except for the fat cells. So I think we have to give out a bunch of whole enchiladas, and there's no problem with that. I want to give a special one to you today, Moses, because we do need a good candidate. When I ran for office, I ran against 2 doctors and 2 attorneys, and this was for the hospital board. So really, they're like, wow, I said, why do I want to run? And it was told to me, it's because you don't have an agenda, and you are part of the community. And you really have proven that, and you are part of the school board. So I'm going to give you a whole enchilada.
And his
Can
family,
I do that, George?
And his family is so good. I mean, his wife's what is she?
She's an obstetrician gynecologist here in the Valley.
She's a doctor.
Let's give her one too.
She's working right now on call
And
at MIHS. So shout out to her.
Okay, that's the governing board I was on.
He started his own company. His daughter's running the company. I mean, he's a perfect example of what you can do in this country.
Moses, give your website out again.
MosesSanchez.com.
All right, Mary, we're good? Want to give the website out real quick?
Website? It's pro-lifearizona.com.
All right. I want to thank the Chipsters. Thank you, guests. Thanks you, Moses, for coming in, and Mary. Laugh for Hope was great. And Think About Life Choices Women's Clinic. It's a great organization. Thank you, Sexy Steve, behind the curtain there, or the screen, I should say. George, good show. We'll be back next week. I may or may not be here. We'll see. You'll have to tune in and find out. But I want y'all to guac on the weekend. I'm Alice Lara with George Ortiz. Be back again for the next edition of the Chips and Salsa Show here on Center Right Radio at centerright.live. Muchas gracias. Thanks again.